All right, we are here in beautiful Big Rapids, Michigan, and we're about to meet with Bryan. Hello, Bryan.
Antoine.
Thank you so much for having us today. We're about to do a little tour of the amazing facility that you are running here. Whenever you're ready.
Absolutely. But first, I want to say thanks to you guys showing up to the shop. You know, I look forward to spending a couple days and to make yourself at home with whatever we have going on. I thought what we'd do is kind of start out where the shop kind of started, the front of the building, and move down through the back. You know, if there's anything that you'd like to stop and see along the way, please speak out, okay? In the beginning, the room that you're in was the original shop where the school was. I was actually in the back. So when the school started, it was pretty humble. It had the same style benches, but there was only 8 benches up here. And I was pretty sure that the school had maxed out at that point. You know, I started with 1 student, then it went to 2, and then it went to 4, and it went to 8. But it was a nice, neat little setup here. Then eventually, my bench actually used to be right here for years. This was a wonderful spot. He had my windows on both sides. It was all set up, but then the school grew again, you know. So I had to kind of be kicked into the back room. But what you're looking at now in its current state, and it's even evolving a little bit more, this is the master's classroom. This would be where the students would build their archtop guitars and make their fingerstyle, or the second term, you know, because the master's program is broken down into 3 2-month terms. 2 months, 2 months, and 2 months. First term is every day is about something. The second term primarily is fingerstyle or set-neck electric. And then third term, they most commonly move on to do the archtop guitar. And if you look around, this is pretty much how it looks all the time. It's very civil. We try to teach students about safety, being clean, chemicals. Too many luthiers like myself in the old days, we lived our craft, and that means being around too many harsh chemicals and too many exotic woods that just really aren't great for you. And there's a way to do this and do it for a lifetime, and that's a really important factor of my school that I wanted to drive the point home with. The other portion that's really important to me is the bench sizes. As you move down through, you're going to see the benches are all the same, and they're not very big. It's because we're teaching the students to do a procedure, stop and clean. Do a procedure, stop and clean. You know, like, you know, if you cook a lot, you know, there's a way to do anything in a systematic manner that can make the process fun. It also keeps things organized. And not to mention, we're dealing with customers' guitars, and if you're building or repairing, and if you dent an instrument because your bench is filthy, well, that's just unacceptable. And I learned a long time ago that customers, when you're dealing with vintage instruments, really don't like to have their guitars come back with scratches or dents that weren't there in the first place, right? So the bench this size, they move through, they do a procedure, they put their tools away, they stop and clean, get their head together, and do it again. And if they don't, we have a little talk with them. We just had to have a talk with a student the other day. He was bringing his bad habits. But it's all you know, fun and games, right? But anyway, so that's what this is. You can see there's not many tools up here. These are basically courtesy tools. They use sparingly because they're trying to keep the dust down, they're trying to keep the noise down. We do have a machinery room, but I like it when we move through the classroom, when school's in full swing, and I hope you get a chance to see that. It's really just music, you know. You got Radio Paradise on or something like that, or whatever the music is on the day. And to me, that's a healthy experience. All right, now Sketty is, and we're here on a Sunday. He's teaching a weekend class, which is our technicians class. They'll move through one weekend session, 2 days in Friday, one bonus and saddles, and another bonus and saddles. Especially this one, the most stock of technicians who want to just go back to our guitar center or see if we finish the little more prepared. Toolboxes, this is something we're kind of big on, because we go out and find these old things that people are throwing away and convert them over into the toolboxes for what they have around here. It's fun. It's a fun thing to do. Is this yours now, Sketty? Is this officially yours?
It is. Zach didn't take his picture of it yet, though.
Oh, of you? A picture of you?
Yeah.
Love the Sketty. So what we could do, I thought I'd like you guys to go down to the back of the shop. Of course, as you walk down, what you'll see is a little break room. That's just a courtesy place. They put their coats and place where they can get their lunch and backpack up above. And now this is the main classroom. And again, you're here and school's not in session. This is an off day. They start back up tomorrow. But if you notice, all the benches have their seats turned over because that's what they do before lunch. And at the end of the day, they stop, they clean, they flip their chairs over, and they learn that a clean shop is a healthy shop. Clean shop is healthy mind, progress, good work. It's a big deal. So at the end of the, at quarter to noon and a quarter to 5, they stop and we go through an entire process. And that also includes cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning the sinks. That's part of the gig, you know. Again, you see the benches are the same. What we have are the go table systems over here. What I like to do, or when Bob Taylor was here, he kept saying, Bryan, why don't you do this? Why don't you add that? And the answer to that is I can't really add anything to this system that a student can't buy at Lowe's or Menards. If it's something that's unachievable to them, then it's no good to be in the class. They can learn that type of stuff later on as they advance. So we use stuff that they can get at general stores. And these would be the Go Sticks they use for gluing up braces, boxing tops. You know, it evolves. These are the actual Go tables that they stick up on their benches. They pull these things out when they're doing braces on tops. And these things work. You can see they're made out of OSB. That's my way of saying to a student, you know, you don't have to go out and buy the Stu Matt catalog. But you put the braces in there and you stick these things in and they bend in and they hold those braces down while the braces glue up. Actually, I think these are along with this. And it's doubled up. 2 dishes. Yeah. They have different sticks for different sizes. They just don't have the correct ones. And of course, the neck jig. I don't know if you guys are familiar with these. This is something that Dan Irwine and I kind of invented back in, or, you know, I hate to say invent, it's more like your dad. But we did it in 1982. And what in the Don Teeter books, if you're not familiar with that, some really famous old books. He had a way of clamping the body down, and he brought up all these little blocks to hold the neck. Well, Dan Irwine took it one step further, and he had a bunch of little rods. And I took it another step further where I had dowel calipers that go here, but these benches also will spin. I can get it to spin like this. And that's because the bass, or whatever you're playing, you're not on your back, you're actually hanging like this, and the neck falls forward. And it's a big, hairy deal for instruments like basses, or especially jazz basses. So each one of these benches has gravity control, and that's one of the lessons in the class. Little lecture area. This is evolving right now, but I'm really excited to get this finished. Within the next 6 months, the school will have video cameras around the shop and flat screens everywhere, so students can just walk up to the screens and the computers and type in whatever lesson we're teaching at the time and be able to review it themselves. And what this will have is cameras that are coming down on this bench, so when the students sit back here, even the shy guy in the back, and there always seems to be one, will be able to see the camera that's on the bench close up. But on the day, like maybe you'll see tomorrow, this is an active room. So one of my favorite rooms. There's always so much going on. And what you're moving into is the spray booth area. This is a DeVilbiss booth that I bought years ago and busted a third of it off and stuck it in here. And I was certain that was going to be like bigger than what I ever needed, and now I need to go twice as big. But it's run its course. Even though I'm still going to keep it within the next 4 months to 6 months, will be 100% unique here. With the exception of the nitrocellulose lacquer I keep around to teach students about nitro, but because they need to know about nitro, they need to know about shellac, French polishing style finishes, but they need to know about nitro for touch-up on vintage stuff. But it's just so quickly going to be obsolete. UV was a royal pain until just recently, and now they have cabinets that you can make UV cure that are all LED, very safe, only get to 100 degrees. The old UV cure lights were super high powers, like instant skin cancer, you know, and there's no way I'm going to have that in a school. Now what this area is kind of like the little store, or where students come and grab stuff, and we knock stuff in here. Sandpapers, brace stock, bridge plates. I buy overstock from like Hidden Hardwoods or wherever that is, and then sell it to the students. And we have, you know, former students that need things. These are some European spruce tops, and I just went through, and we take these about 100 at a time and run our testing on it, and then they get the Gallup certification. So these are the next ones to go through the system. And that's a unique thing that we can kind of get into later on. It's the first language of tone wood. And it's not just for tops, it also works for backs and sides and necks. And that'll be a major ordeal. Everybody's kind of running down that road right now. And you can see that there's the arch top backs up there ready to rock. I just pulled those out of storage. I'll be processing those in the next 3 to 4 weeks. The storage is kind of taking its hit. It's going to be replenished over the next month and a half. It goes in spurts. And also, if you look up there, you can see, I don't know if you noticed on the way through, but they have an ant class, and that's what Tom Hull was doing. And we make those cabinets in-house. They're really pretty nice. If I can get it down, I can't.
Oh yeah, this one has the bucks and the
Yep.
grill and everything. Is pretty much a finished one.
Here's my little lathe. I'm kind of getting ready to refurbish. It's a little hobby of mine. But we make it, you know, we have maple everywhere around here. This is our old maple. We make the cabinets. They're tongue and grooved. Of course, they're mojo tone insides, but the rest of it is cane front. I'm real proud of those. It was just an idea. I said, hey, what do you think? And that's like the last thing you want to say to this team. They go and do it. It's 57 Deluxe. Nice, real good, straightforward situation. I hope within the next year to be stamping our own chassis and silk screening our own stuff. It's kind of like a, you know, in this shop we're not a shop that buys our parts. In other words, someone doesn't make our fretboards. We don't send stuff out to be finished. I'm really unhappy that we have to buy tuners and fret wire and purflings. I'm slowly going to figure out how we can, you know, do stuff like that. The fret wire and the tuners are probably out, but the purflings I did go get. And this would be one of the main machinery rooms. And the one thing you'll notice about this room is there's no saws, because this is the room that the students can walk into and use the equipment that is not going to hurt them. Like I recently just put the joiner in here, but that's generally always on a lockout. You'll see that around here. The machinery has a padlock on it that only the instructors have a code to. But the sanders that students can use with no problem. And you know, like in the first 2 months I talked about, that's actually called the journeyman class, where every day is about something. And most of the time it's just trying to learn what the students are, what their weirdnesses are going to be, if they're going to be, you know, anxious in any way, and that can lead to like erratic behavior within the shop. So we're teaching them how to be in a shop, how do you work around machinery, and so on and so forth, to make sure they're not going to hurt themselves. In all the years we've been doing it, and I've been actually an instructor in the school business since 1983, never had an accident. And I'm real proud of that. So you can see the side fenders. Again, see how the things are made out of just general store stuff you can buy, nothing crazy. This is not like Stu-Mac stuff or Luthier's Mercantile. Anybody can go out and make these things. Side benders, router arms. These are actually a little industrial, I say that, but these are pretty cool. We do have the pantograph arm systems, which is what this is. It comes out no matter where you go in your routing or binding. It makes sure that the router's always square to the body, and that's for basically gallop stuff. But underneath here we have other systems that are the type that anybody could build that will do the same job. They aren't industrial, and at the high rate that we use them, they would be breaking down all the time, so it's just not practical. So we just keep those put away for the students. You can see a pantograph arm back there. That's what we carved the archtop stuff on. We have a second one on the way, but you take an archtop template and you put it right here. And then you put the block of wood over here and they bolt down. And what you have is a stylus, and then you have a router that's the same size as the stylus. So it comes over and you get it set in a spot, you flip it on and it's got a little bicycle brake on it, and then you plunge it down and you go, and it does its thing, and then you come back a lot slower than that. And then you move it about a quarter of an inch, and then you do it again. It wastes the weight of wood. You know, there's no way that they could, in an archtop, could do the full carve on the outside. So we show them how to do this system. We have a template. We show them what they're looking for the different style of carves. That could be a Epiphone carve. It could be a Gibson carve, a Lohr carve. What does it mean? And then they do the carves in this, but they still flip it over and do the inside carve and voice the top. To do the important stuff. It's just not practical to do the outside carve. Well, at least we tried it anyways, and it became very much not practical. So let's walk into the back room. This is where it gets a little bit heavier. Again, it's still pretty compact. I'm a tool junkie and I have a lot of tools in storage. I'm going to have to buy or build another building just for the heavy duty stuff. But the way that it works, the wood comes in, a lot of maple, a lot of mahogany. We're teaching with that. It gets processed on the radial arm saws. From there it goes through our resaw, which is this one right here. At that point it gets stickered and it goes into cold dry storage for three years generally. You know, that gives a chance for it to do any craziness that's going to happen to it. We generally lose about 20%. And then it comes back into the shop and it reacclimates for about a year, and then we use it. You know, so the wood would come in. We'll block it up on this beauty, which is lovely. And then this would be sides. And as you can see, this is the side flame maple. That's very important. You'll see it's dated. It's real big in this business to make claims about wood, like it's this or it's that. But unless I know for sure, when anything comes in, it gets dated today. And then, you know, and then they follow that date, and it's cataloged all the way through the process, so we know what we're looking at. So that would be sides. This would be backs for acoustic guitars. This is soft maple. This is great stuff for teaching. Mahogany and curly maple is great wood for teaching students. Primarily mahogany, curly maple, and alder are what we use in the shop. They don't need to use any exotic woods. It's just not necessary.
At least not yet.
Not yet. You know, we're trying to teach them. You know, they get wrapped up in the wood and they lose sight that they're the project. You know, and what we're trying to develop is a well-rounded luthier. And worrying about black buttons on the end of their tuners or the flame isn't good enough. It's like, no, why don't we just concentrate on how to build a really great sounding guitars with the materials at hand? And you know, we all know in this business, and this generally gets me in trouble, but there are a lot of pretty awful sounding guitars out there. They have pretty woods, but they just don't make the grade for musical instruments. You know, and the student really needs to learn that up front. It gives them a great foundation. The back of the shop buffer, that's my buffer. We show the students on Stuart McDonald's buffers in the back. That's the ones that they can get. This is the main work area. Right now the guys are making this mold, which is for a great guitar player we work with called Fareed Hawk. And I've developed 3 instruments for him. One of them is a jazz fusion instrument that has a great archtop sound but doesn't feed back. And I mean at high volumes. And we went through 3 different efforts to try to make that happen. By the second one we had it nailed down, but now it's a real instrument. So that's happening right now. Some jigs, new jigs and stuff we're making. I just changed the mortise and tenon system on all of our guitars because our heels design changed. It allowed me to widen it a little bit, and that feels great. The time savers, this is actually a luxury. You know, not everybody can have a time saver. We have to actually have two because they're used so much. But that doesn't mean that a student can't do the same type of thing with a $1,800 unit. But it's just, these are so accurate. And you know, like I said that the school had 8 students, but now we're at 27 routinely, and it would kill one of those machines. You know, and it would become inaccurate or something would be going on. And these are just nice wide belt sanders. We generally have 2 grits. This is a saw that's being refurbished right now. Stumac buffers. These are kind of nice. These are cross draft tables. I've always had a downdraft table, and I think every luthier shop should have a downdraft table, even if it's just a HEPA filter. And you know, if they're going to be dealing with chemicals like naphthas, as we all know are pretty awful, they should have an outdraft table. It should be evacuating those fumes. But a simple cross draft like this is a great unit. I can turn it on. We're testing 2. One is cross draft here, and the other one, it's up here. So we're seeing if a Venturi effect is better. This is definitely the one that works. So turn it on, it just evacuates it. The student comes over here, opens the blasting. And when they sand, chemicals and dust is always heavier than the air itself, so it wants to go down. As long as we're not blowing it around, it does a great job.
I wish I had that one.
Yeah,
That is really cool.
Yeah, I've had a cross draft or a down draft since day one. And just a simple sanding, you know, that dust isn't great, but if you were to take like one of those air filtration systems you see everywhere, everybody sells them, and put those into a table and put a HEPA filter on it, that you go a long ways keeping your shop clean and keeping that junk out of your lungs. And as you can see, we have 2 of them. The next department that's going through a transformation in the shop will be the CNC department. It started out as just something that I got in so that I could do stuff that was on my mind. And now it's blown into a full-blown department where I'll be ordering 2 new machines within the next 4 months that will be sitting over here. The first area is the design portion of it. We did a lot of designs for a lot of other people, and we're basically a job shop. And now with Sam's Guitars, Zach's, myself, Tyler, the work we're doing for the custom stuff for Reed and also Dan Erlewine, we're going to be completely busy, and the job shop portion is going to take a back seat. But we're still going to help people with designs of molds and so on and so forth. 2 people are working in here right now. It's William and Matt, but both Zach and Tyler are stepping up to the plate, which is going to be exciting. That means the very luthiers that are doing the work are going to have their hands right in the mix. That's not something that always happens. And you'll be able to see the CNC. This is a Techno. A Techno machine, and this is an older one, but I think the people make a mistake a lot of times of buying a machine that's overkill. They want to move into a Haas or a Fadal. And you know, they make aircraft parts on those. You don't necessarily need it. If you can get into these for, you know, 30,000, and it'll do everything that you want. We have it set up with vacuum panels, and they're set up like this because if all of a sudden we do something stupid and it crashes into a panel and blows this, we just clamp another panel down, run the program, and we don't have to replace the whole table. And this is a vacuum. We turn the vacuum on, crank it like that, and when you put the mold on and put the part on, it creates a vacuum sandwich that holds everything down. And this is, see, it has the foam in here. We can move this wherever we want. The machines that I want next aren't available, so I'm probably going to be making my own machines. That's something that we're going to start in 2 weeks when we get back from Miami. That's what's on the slate. This department's a lot of fun. I love to come in here. I love to watch Sam and Tyler and Zach make something from the ground up that I know nobody else is doing, design it, move it down here, watch the process go on to a guitar, because the loop is just, well, it's not just amazing, it's very inspiring. You know that it's leading somewhere. And this machine in this department made that happen. A very, very big part of it.